In a quiet town, hidden among the trees and winding paths, there was a small house that looked like any other. Inside that house, a child named Aiden played alone in the backyard. His small hands gripped a wooden toy, and his eyes sparkled with innocent curiosity. The air was calm, birds chirped overhead, and the world seemed to be at peace. Aiden was just like any other child, living in a world that was full of possibilities and dreams. But Aiden was no ordinary child. His world was about to change forever. Far away, in the depths of space, a group of alien scouts observed Earth from their ships. The aliens were experts in their craft, able to scan entire planets with ease and judge which ones were worth exploring or conquering. They had watched Earth for a long time, and to them, humanity seemed primitive. They saw a world filled with simple people and basic technology. To the aliens, Earth was just another unimportant planet in the vast universe. The scouts, curious about Earth's inhabitants, focused their attention on Aiden. They believed he was a defenseless human child, unaware of the advanced forces watching over him. What they didn't know was that Aiden's family was not what they seemed, and Aiden's bracelet, a simple, worn piece of jewelry, was more than just a trinket. It was a key, a connection to something far older and more powerful than anyone could imagine. Aiden didn't know this, of course. To him, the bracelet was just something his grandmother had given him. She had always said it was special, but never explained why. Aiden had never asked. His young mind was too focused on the simple joys of childhood, climbing trees, running through the fields, and imagining worlds beyond his own. But today was different. As Aiden played near the edge of the forest, his bracelet began to glow faintly. At first, he didn't notice, but as he reached for a branch, the glow grew stronger. The air around him seemed to hum, as though something ancient and powerful had just woken up. The small device on his wrist sent out a signal that traveled far beyond the trees and hills. The aliens, observing Earth from their distant ships, saw the sudden surge of energy. The scouts, curious and confident in their superiority, decided to make their move. They would capture the child. They would learn what secrets this strange signal held, and in doing so, they would discover the true power of Earth. They thought it would be easy. After all, they were far more advanced than the humans, and a simple child like Aiden wouldn't stand a chance. But what they didn't know was that Aiden was not alone. Hidden beneath the surface of Earth, there was a power far greater than they could ever imagine, waiting to be awakened. High above Earth, in the cold void of space, the alien scouts watched as the faint signal from Aiden's bracelet reached their sensors. The leaders of the alien fleet, in their grand spaceship orbiting Earth, received the message with growing interest. They had been monitoring human activity for months, assuming that Earth was just another insignificant planet. After all, the people here were primitive, living with basic tools and technology. They didn't even have space travel beyond their atmosphere. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to experiment. The scout commander, a tall figure with glowing eyes, leaned forward and studied the planet below. "Target the child," he ordered. His voice was calm and calculated. He believed that Aiden, a simple boy from a small town, was nothing more than an accidental trigger of a long-forgotten relic, a device that had activated for no reason at all. They didn't suspect that the child was anything special. To them, he was just a tool they could use to learn more about Earth. On the ground, Aiden continued to play, unaware of the threat looming over him. He had wandered deeper into the forest, picking flowers and skipping stones. His parents had always warned him to stay close to home, but today he felt drawn to the wilds of the forest, as if something was calling him. He didn't know what it was. Perhaps it was the strange hum in the air, or the sudden flutter in his chest when he looked at the old bracelet. He thought it was just his imagination, but there was something about today that felt different. As Aiden wandered, the alien ships began their descent. They moved quietly and swiftly, undetected by any human eyes, landing in secret locations around the town. Their technology was so advanced that they could move through Earth's atmosphere without making a sound. They observed the planet from the shadows, waiting for the moment to strike. They didn't need to worry about human defenses. Earth was nothing compared to their advanced empire. The alien commander was confident. He didn't believe that Earth could defend itself against such a powerful force. He had heard stories of primitive civilizations being easily overthrown by his people. This would be no different. The child's signal was nothing more than a harmless glitch, something that could be easily erased once they had the boy in their grasp. Aiden still wandered, unaware of the ships just beyond his sight. As he looked around, he noticed a small creature darting through the underbrush. He smiled and followed it, his curiosity growing. But before he could take another step, a shadow moved behind him. The scout commander's forces were ready. They had identified Aiden and were prepared to capture him without hesitation. The plan was simple. Take the child, study the device on his wrist, and learn everything about it. They would not harm him, at least not yet. To them, he was just a key to unlocking Earth's deeper secrets. But as they advanced, no one could have predicted what would happen next. Earth had one secret they never saw coming, one that was now about to reveal itself. As Aiden continued to explore the forest, a strange stillness filled the air. The birds stopped chirping, and the usual sounds of the trees swaying in the wind faded. A low hum began to echo in the distance, something that Aiden couldn't place but felt deep within his chest. He paused for a moment, looking around, his eyes wide with confusion. The strange feeling made him uneasy, but he shrugged it off. It was just his imagination, he thought. High above Earth, in the quiet reaches of space, the signal that Aiden's bracelet had sent out was now being received by something far more powerful than the alien scouts. Deep within the vastness of space, hidden from the eyes of even the most advanced civilizations, Earth's forgotten Armada was waking up. The Armada was ancient. Long before humans ever set foot in space, it had been built by the first advanced human civilization, one that had once ruled the stars. This powerful fleet was buried in the farthest reaches of space, hidden away by a technology so advanced that no other species had ever discovered its existence. The Armada was designed to protect Earth from any possible threat, and its core was a powerful artificial intelligence that had been dormant for centuries. As the signal from Aiden's bracelet reached the Armada's core, the AI began to stir. At first, it was just a flicker, a spark of energy that traveled through the dormant systems. But then, as the signal became stronger, the AI fully activated. It began to assess the situation on Earth, reading the threat that was slowly moving toward the planet. The AI, though ancient, was sharp and intelligent. It knew that something was wrong. The aliens had arrived. The AI quickly sent orders to its fleet. Ships hidden within asteroid fields and buried in the depths of moons began to power up. The Armada was awakening, preparing for the defense of Earth. The fleet was vast, far larger than any human could comprehend, and each ship was equipped with technology far beyond anything the alien scouts had ever encountered. The Armada's purpose was clear: protect Earth at all costs. Meanwhile, the alien scouts who had been preparing to capture Aiden were unaware of the danger approaching them. They had underestimated Earth. They thought that Aiden was the only piece in this puzzle, unaware that the planet's hidden defenders were about to take action. The scouts were already too far into their plan. They believed they had already won. As the first wave of alien ships descended, the Armada's first ships emerged from their hiding places, silently but quickly. They moved at unimaginable speeds, cloaked in the shadows of space, and made their way toward Earth, ready to defend their home. Each ship carried unimaginable firepower, and the AI at the center of the Armada began to communicate with Earth's defense systems, activating shields and weapons that no one had ever seen. On the ground, Aiden's confusion deepened. He felt the strange energy grow stronger, almost as though something was calling to him. He glanced down at his bracelet once more, sensing its power. He had no idea what was happening, but he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was about to change in ways he couldn't understand. The alien scouts, confident in their superiority, continued their approach. But in the distance, the hum of Earth's hidden armada grew louder, signaling the beginning of a battle that no one on Earth could have ever imagined. The alien scouts, confident in their power, descended through Earth's atmosphere with ease. Their ships were sleek and fast, cutting through the sky like knives through butter. They had no fear. Their technology was far superior to anything the humans had ever imagined. They believed Earth was defenseless, an easy target. They thought they could capture Aiden, study the strange signal he had triggered, and leave without anyone even noticing. On the ground, Aiden was still wandering through the forest, unaware of the approaching threat. His curiosity about the world around him had grown, and he felt a strange pull to keep moving deeper into the woods. But something was different today. The air felt heavier, and the usual sounds of nature seemed to fade away as he walked further from home. The alien ships hovered above the small town, cloaked in stealth technology that made them invisible to human eyes. They were careful not to draw attention, relying on their advanced systems to detect and isolate Aiden. The scouts had been trained for this moment. They knew exactly where the child was, and they believed they could capture him without a struggle. The planet's primitive defenses were no match for them. However, the aliens had made one critical mistake. They underestimated Earth. They didn't realize that the planet was not as defenseless as they thought. Deep within the Earth's atmosphere, hidden from view, a far more powerful force was watching. The first of the Armada's ships, still cloaked in secrecy, had already taken position in the sky, waiting for the right moment to strike. In the alien command center, the leader of the scout mission stood with arms crossed, surveying the data on the screen. "Prepare the capture team," he ordered. "We have no time to waste. Earth's defense systems are primitive at best. Let's complete the mission and leave." But what the scout commander failed to understand was the advanced systems of the Armada were already active. The AI that controlled the fleet was already analyzing the alien threat. The AI knew that the aliens had underestimated Earth's power. It was time for the Armada to act. Meanwhile, Aiden still wandered deeper into the forest, unaware of the danger closing in on him. He felt a strange buzzing in his chest again, and this time, the hum seemed louder. The bracelet on his wrist glowed faintly, reacting to the growing energy around him. He paused, looking down at it, confused. Why did it feel like it was alive? It was as if something inside him was stirring, something beyond his understanding. But he didn't have time to think about it. Suddenly, the ground beneath him shook. It wasn't an earthquake, but a tremor that seemed to come from above. Aiden looked up, his heart racing. In the sky, hidden among the clouds, the alien ships were beginning to appear, their cloaking devices flickering as they dropped into full view. The aliens were here, but they had no idea what they were about to face. The first alien ship descended towards the town, its massive form blocking out the sun. Aiden's eyes widened in fear, but before he could react, a sudden flash of light blinded him. It came from the sky, bright and intense. The Armada's first ship had appeared. The aliens' overconfidence was about to be shattered. The battle for Earth was about to begin. The air above Earth crackled with tension as the alien ships loomed over the town. Their massive forms blocked out the sun, casting an eerie shadow over the land below. The alien forces had begun their descent, confident that their superior technology would quickly overpower any resistance. The scouts, focused on their mission, began to deploy, ready to capture the human child. They believed they had everything under control, but they were wrong. Without warning, the first flash of bright light lit up the sky, and the ground shook with the impact of something massive entering Earth's atmosphere. The aliens, unprepared for this sudden force, looked up in surprise. Their eyes widened as they saw a giant ship descend from the sky, cutting through the atmosphere with incredible speed. It was Earth's hidden Armada. The alien scouts were caught off guard. They had underestimated the human race. They had believed Earth was defenseless. But they were wrong. The ships of the Armada were far more advanced than anything the aliens had imagined. They glowed with energy, their sleek forms built for speed and destruction. Their weapons hummed with power, ready to strike. The first wave of the Armada's ships entered the atmosphere with a speed that no human or alien could ever match. They did not announce their arrival. They simply appeared, as if from nowhere. The scouts, still recovering from their shock, tried to respond, but it was too late. Earth's Armada was already upon them. From the ground, Aiden looked up at the sky, his heart racing. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. The alien ships, which had seemed so powerful moments ago, were now under attack. The bright flashes of energy filled the sky as the Armada's weapons fired with deadly precision. The alien ships, caught off guard by the sudden attack, began to retreat, but the Armada was relentless. The battle for Earth had begun. As Aiden stood frozen in place, his bracelet began to glow brighter, as if responding to the battle above. The bracelet hummed with power, sending waves of energy through the air. Aiden could feel the energy in his chest again, stronger this time. The strange pull he had been feeling was no longer just a feeling. It was real. He now knew that the strange device on his wrist had a connection to something far greater than he could ever understand. Above him, the battle raged on. Alien ships were firing back, but the Armada's weapons were too advanced, too powerful. With each strike, an alien ship was destroyed, its pieces scattering through the sky. The alien forces, once so confident, were now panicking. They had never expected such resistance. They had never expected Earth to have this kind of power. Aiden, still watching in awe, felt a strange sense of connection to the events unfolding above him. It was as if he were part of it, as if his bracelet was guiding the Armada's attack. He didn't understand it, but deep down, he knew one thing for sure. Earth wasn't going to lose this fight. The Armada had awakened, and the aliens had made the mistake of underestimating the power of the human race. The battle above Earth raged with fierce energy. Alien ships, once so confident in their superiority, were now in full retreat. Explosions lit up the sky as Earth's Armada continued its relentless attack. Every alien ship that tried to fight back was quickly overwhelmed by the precision and power of the hidden fleet. It was a spectacle that no one on Earth had ever imagined, and yet it was happening right before their eyes. Aiden stood frozen in the forest, his eyes wide with amazement and fear. He could feel the weight of the situation, but he couldn't fully understand it. The bracelet on his wrist was glowing more brightly now, pulsing with energy as the battle above continued. Every time the Armada's ships fired, the bracelet hummed with a strange power, as though it were connected to the events unfolding in the sky. Aiden instinctively reached out to touch it, as if trying to make sense of the energy flowing through him. The bracelet seemed to respond, sending a small, but powerful, pulse through his arm. A deep hum filled his chest, and for a brief moment, Aiden felt as though he was no longer just a child standing alone in the forest. He felt connected to something far greater. The strange sensation surged through him, as if the very energy of the Armada was flowing through his veins. The more Aiden focused on the glowing bracelet, the more he began to understand. It wasn't just a random piece of jewelry. It was a key. The key to unlocking something hidden deep within Earth's history. Something ancient, something powerful. Aiden's heart raced as he realized that the Armada was somehow responding to him. He didn't know how or why, but he knew that the bracelet had connected him to the Armada, and it was guiding their attacks in some way. Above him, the fight continued to intensify. The alien forces, despite their advanced technology, were losing the battle. The Armada's ships moved with incredible speed and precision, dismantling the alien fleet one ship at a time. The scouts, realizing they had made a fatal mistake, began to panic. They had never expected Earth to have such power, let alone a child that could somehow control the Armada. On the ground, Aiden stood in awe, trying to understand his role in all of this. He had always been just an ordinary kid, someone who spent his days playing in the forest and dreaming of far-off adventures. But now, it seemed that the adventure had come to him, and the adventure was bigger than he could ever have imagined. His mind raced as the truth began to sink in. He wasn't just a bystander in this battle. The energy in his bracelet wasn't a coincidence. It was part of something larger. Aiden had been chosen. Somehow he was connected to the Armada, and the Armada had come to protect Earth because of him. As the final alien ships began to retreat, Aiden realized that his life had changed forever. The peaceful world he had known was gone. He was no longer just a child with a simple bracelet. He was a key figure in a battle that had determined the future of Earth. The battle above Earth was nearly over. The alien fleet, once vast and powerful, had been reduced to scattered remnants, retreating into the depths of space. The Armada's ships continued to patrol the sky, ensuring that no further threats would reach the planet. Aiden, still standing in the forest, watched in awe as the final few alien ships disappeared into the distance. For a moment, everything was silent. The sky, once filled with explosions and laser fire, was now calm again. But the calmness did not ease the tension in Aiden's chest. He could still feel the strange energy coursing through him. The connection to the Armada stronger than ever. It was as if the bracelet on his wrist had become part of him. His thoughts raced as he tried to process what had just happened. He had been part of the battle, though he hadn't known it at the time. The power of Earth's hidden Armada had awoken because of him. The aliens had come, and Aiden had been at the center of it all. Now, standing alone in the forest, he faced a difficult decision. The Armada had successfully defended Earth, but it wasn't over yet. There was still so much Aiden didn't understand about the bracelet, about the Armada, and about the role he was meant to play. What was he supposed to do now? Was this just a one-time event, or was there more to his connection with the Armada? Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind, deep and calm. It was the voice of the Armada's AI, speaking directly to him. Aiden, the voice said, you have unlocked the power of the Armada. You are connected to it, and it is connected to you. The forces that you have just witnessed are only the beginning. You have the power to command, to protect Earth as no one else can. But with that power comes a responsibility. The choice is yours. Aiden's heart raced. He wasn't sure he understood fully, but he knew one thing. He could not ignore what was happening. He was part of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. The idea of controlling such power was both thrilling and terrifying. How could he, a child, bear such responsibility? What if he made the wrong choice? The AI's voice spoke again, this time with more urgency. The Armada is waiting. Your decision will shape the future of Earth. You must decide whether to lead or to step aside. Aiden's mind spun as he stood there, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Could he truly lead? He was just a boy. He had no experience, no training. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized that he wasn't just any child. He had something unique inside him, a connection to something ancient and powerful. He had been chosen for a reason. With a deep breath, Aiden made his decision. He would accept the responsibility. He would learn what he needed to protect Earth, to ensure that the Armada's power was used wisely. He wasn't alone. He would have the guidance of the Armada, the strength of Earth's hidden fleet, and the knowledge of the AI to help him along the way. But the path ahead was still uncertain, and Aiden knew that danger would always be lurking. Still, he was no longer just a boy in the forest. He was the key to Earth's future. The battle was over, but Aiden knew that this was just the beginning. The alien ships that had once filled the sky with weapons and destruction had been driven off, their once proud fleet scattered in retreat. The Armada had done its job, protecting Earth from an invasion that no one had seen coming. Yet as the dust settled, Aiden felt the weight of the moment. He wasn't just a bystander anymore. He was part of something much bigger. The sky had returned to its peaceful state, But Aiden couldn't shake the feeling that things had changed forever. The bracelet on his wrist still glowed faintly, and as he looked up at the sky, he felt the strange pull in his chest once more. The connection between him and the Armada was stronger than ever, as though it were guiding him, leading him into a new world where Earth's safety depended on his choices. Standing alone in the forest, Aiden wasn't sure where to go from here. The AI had made it clear that he had a decision to make, whether to lead and guide the Armada, or step aside and allow humanity to figure things out on its own. But he knew deep down that he couldn't walk away from the responsibility. He had been chosen for something. The power of the Armada was within him, and that power had to be used wisely. Suddenly, the hum of energy in the air grew louder. Aiden looked up again, his heart racing as a massive ship descended from the sky. It was the flagship of the Armada, the largest ship Aiden had ever seen, and it landed gently on the ground not far from where he stood. The ship's engines hummed to a soft stop as the ramp lowered, and from it emerged a figure, the AI, in physical form, as a tall and powerful humanoid figure. It was not human, but Aiden knew that it was here to help him. The figure stepped toward Aiden, its eyes glowing with a calm intensity. "Aiden," the AI spoke, its voice clear and comforting. "You have done well. The Armada is proud to serve Earth, and we are ready to protect this world as long as you choose to lead us." Aiden's mind raced. This was real. The power, the responsibility, it was all in his hands. But as the AI spoke, he knew that he wasn't alone. The Armada was more than just ships and weapons. It was a force for good, a protector of Earth, and he, Aiden, was its leader. "I understand," Aiden said quietly, his voice trembling with both fear and resolve. "I will lead you. I will protect Earth, but I will need help. I am just one person." The AI smiled, a gesture that seemed almost human. "You will never be alone, Aiden. The Armada will always be by your side. Together, we will ensure that no force will ever threaten Earth again." With those words, the AI reached out and placed a hand on Aiden's shoulder. He felt a surge of warmth and energy, as though the entire Armada was flowing into him. For a moment, Aiden felt like he could understand everything. The history of Earth, the power of the Armada, and his own place in it all. The decision was made. Aiden had chosen to lead. Earth's future was in his hands, but he was no longer afraid. With the Armada at his command, he would protect the planet, not just from threats from space, but from anything that sought to harm it. Aiden looked up at the sky, knowing that his journey had just begun. There would be more battles ahead, more challenges to face, but for the first time, he felt ready. With the last of the alien ships fleeing into the vastness of space, Earth seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The battle, which had once seemed impossible to win, was over. Yet, as Aiden stood beneath the peaceful sky, he could feel the weight of the future pressing down on him. He wasn't the same person who had wandered the forest just a few days ago. Now, he was the leader of Earth's hidden Armada, a force unlike anything the world had ever known. The quiet hum of the Armada's ships filled the air, the fleet still hovering above Earth, ready to protect the planet at a moment's notice. The giant flagship, where the AI had spoken to Aiden, remained stationed nearby, its massive form a silent guardian over the world below. Aiden stood near the edge of the forest, staring up at the sky, as if waiting for something more to happen. He had done his part, but he knew that the real work was just beginning. The AI, now in a humanoid form, stood beside him, its glowing eyes watching the world around them. "You have proven yourself, Aiden," it said, its voice steady and reassuring. "But the Armada's power is not meant to be used in battle alone. You have a greater responsibility now." Aiden turned to face the AI, his heart pounding. "What do you mean?" he asked. "We've won, haven't we? The aliens are gone. Earth is safe." The AI nodded. "For now, yes, but there will always be threats. New challenges will rise. The Armada's true purpose is to protect Earth, not just from one enemy, but from any danger that comes. That means you will have to be ready for anything. You are not just a leader in name. You must guide Earth into a new age, one where peace and security are no longer fragile. Aiden's mind raced. He had only just begun to understand the true weight of his decision. Leading Earth's Armada was no small task. It wasn't about fighting battles. It was about ensuring that humanity could thrive, that Earth would never be vulnerable again. The alien fleet had been just the beginning. There would be others who would come, other challenges that would test the strength of the human race. But Aiden didn't feel afraid. For the first time, he felt like he had a purpose. He had never been the strongest or the smartest, but now, with the Armada by his side, he could do more than he had ever imagined. He had the power to change the world, to protect it from forces far greater than anything humanity had ever faced. "I'll do whatever it takes," Aiden said, his voice firm with resolve. "I'll make sure Earth stays safe." The AI's eyes glowed brighter, a sign of approval. "We will support you, Aiden. Together, we will make sure that Earth remains a beacon of hope, no matter the dangers that lie ahead." Aiden stood tall, his eyes focused on the horizon. The sky was peaceful now, but he knew that peace could be fragile. His job was far from over. He wasn't just a boy anymore. He was the leader of Earth's hidden Armada, and he would protect his home, no matter what it took. With the Armada at his side, Aiden knew that no matter what challenges awaited, he was ready to face them. The future was in his hands, and for the first time, he felt truly powerful. The sun began to set over the horizon, casting a warm golden light across the peaceful Earth below. Aiden stood at the edge of the forest, gazing up at the sky. The Armada's ships hovered above, their sleek forms now a constant presence in the atmosphere, silently watching over the world they had sworn to protect. The battle was over, but Aiden knew that his journey was just beginning. He had come a long way from the curious, carefree child who had wandered through the forest. The boy who had once only dreamed of adventure was now the leader of an ancient fleet, responsible for the safety of an entire planet. He had faced the impossible, and with the help of the Armada, he had won. But even as the world seemed calm once more, Aiden knew that the peace they had fought for could not last forever. A soft voice broke his thoughts, and he turned to see the AI, now in its humanoid form, standing beside him. Its glowing eyes looked down at him with a sense of quiet understanding. "You have made the right choice, Aiden. The Armada will stand with you, but the path ahead is not without challenges." Aiden nodded, feeling the weight of its words. The world had changed, but so had he. He had chosen to take on a responsibility far beyond his years, and though he had felt fear, he now felt something else: determination. The universe was vast, and Earth was just one small piece of it. But now, they had a chance to protect that piece. "I know," Aiden said, his voice steady. "I'm ready for whatever comes next. I won't let Earth fall." The AI smiled slightly, its expression softening. "You are not alone in this, Aiden. We will help you. The Armada's power is at your command, and together we will ensure that Earth remains safe for generations to come." With those words, the AI gestured to the sky. In the distance, the Armada's ships glided through the air, their engines humming softly as they patrolled the skies. Aiden could feel the power of the fleet, the ancient technology at his fingertips, but he also understood the responsibility that came with it. The Armada wasn't just a weapon, it was a force for peace, and he was its leader. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Aiden felt a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't just protecting Earth from immediate threats. He was guiding humanity into a new era, one where they no longer had to live in fear of the unknown. The Armada had shown him that Earth's future could be bright, and he was determined to make it so. He turned to face the AI, his eyes filled with resolve. "What happens now?" The AI's voice was calm but firm. "Now we prepare. We build. We protect. And when the time comes, we will be ready." Aiden smiled. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, he felt ready to face it. He was no longer just a child. He was the leader of Earth's Armada, and with the power of the fleet behind him, nothing could stand in their way. The new era had begun, and Aiden knew that as long as he stood with the Armada, Earth's future was in good hands.